All right, good morning, everybody. It is October the 1st. Happy fiscal year to everybody. Um, it's hard to believe it's October. It has almost been a full 4 months since I came off the trail, which blows me away. And I just want to say before I forget, a congratulatory shout out to all those who are finishing the trail in record numbers right now. The Facebook page 2017 class is filling up with through hiker summit photos at Katahdin. So congratulations to all of you. Man, I know what that means in your world and your life, and proud of all of you. I'll give a special shout out to Chica and Sunset's Appalachian Trail Tales. They finished recently. They're already back home. They're living up in their mom's house, or in Chica's mom's house up in Wisconsin, and seem to be enjoying life in their post-trail experience. So happy for them, and happy for Disciple from the channel Not By Sight on YouTube. Man, been following him the whole time. Was talking with him and his wife Halo before they started the trail. She was commenting on my videos and asking some questions, and just watching them and their family and all, and that experience all the way from Georgia to Maine was really motivating for me, and I was glad I could be a little tiny piece of it. But in the end, it was that family who endured and did all they could to make sure Disciple summited. So very cool to see. And Halo did the 100-mile wilderness, and Halo and their two older children also summited Katahdin with him. So that's pretty cool. All right, moving on. All right, y'all. So today, you can see on the screen, we stopped at Walker Gap. That's where we're going to pick up at. And we're just doing a short little 4.5, 5-mile stint into the Fontana Dam shelter. And I go all the way to the visitor center, where I was eventually picked up and taken to the Fontana Lodge. Now, it seems like this video would be shorter than normal because it's only about 5 miles. Everybody would probably hoping that I filmed some at Fontana Village. I didn't do a lot of filming there. I wish I would have, hindsight. But I did a lot of talking from Walker Gap all the way down for this 5 miles. And I would think, for me as an upcoming section hiker, through hiker, that some of the knowledge that we drop in these 5 miles is really going to be beneficial for some of you, just to think through some things. And I'll keep arguing that my channel is not going to be for all the logistics, or let's just say all of you that are planning and want really detailed logistical information. This channel probably isn't going to give you all of that. I'm going to give you tips and techniques that you don't hear about, or you don't hear a lot of really on the trail or any of these video forums that we have on here. With that said, I just want to give a quick shout out to Big Bird. Those of you, and he has a lot of followers, but he's also doing kind of a section by section review of the AWOL guide with his experience included. It's pretty cool. He's an ex Special Operations Forces Air Force pilot, helo pilot, and man, he plans in the same fashion, so I relate to it really well. I'm surprised he doesn't have his knee board out, briefing off his knee board, but in the end, go over to Big Bird's channel, and I think you'll dig that as well. I'll give that channel name out here in a few minutes. Okay, y'all, so we'll go ahead and turn it over to the video, but the first thing I just want to cover is Walker Gap here. We're at 3,450 feet. We're going to be descending all the way down into 1,700 feet as we go across the Fontana Dam, getting ready for our entrance into the Smokies the next day. I'm going to go ahead and switch down and show you something real quick. So here's the map overview of Fontana here, right? And your only town options when you get to Fontana are going into Robbinsville, and it's 8 west from Stokoe Gap. So you can go into there before Fontana, or you can get in there when you get to Fontana. Regardless, if you remember, there aren't a lot of resupply options here at all, especially if you get there early. I was at the Fontana Lodge. They do have a general store, was not open when I was there. The post office was opening. That's year round. They only open from Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 3:45. So that's a little 4-hour block every day that you got to be there to pick up your packages. And if you get there on a Friday afternoon past 3:45, then you're waiting until Monday. However, if you get mail sent to the Fontana Lodge, you can pick that up anytime, and that's what I did. They charge $5 for through hikers to pick up your package there, which is minimal compared to the pain that you'd have to go through if you're waiting on the post office on a Monday, or you miss it and you got to stay somewhere stealth camp till the next day to get your package. So send it to the lodge, pay the $5. It's well worth it. They have a big lobby there. It's gorgeous. They've got internet in there. I watched a lot of through hikers just sit there in the lodge all day, repacking their packs, repacking their food bags, getting some coffee, getting on the internet to print out their passes for the Smokies. So a lot of good options here. And there's a shuttle that will pick you up and take you. I think it's $3 or something to get to the lodge. Again, just the luck of that I had all the way throughout the trail. It wasn't running the day that I got there for whatever reason. So luckily I called the lodge, and a lady, I think her name was Susan, got in her own car and came and picked me up, man. These people are great. It's $89 a night for a room at the lodge, and it is fabulous. So if you can budget and stay there right before your entrance into the Smokies, man, do so, because it's great. But also, you got to know about the Fontana Hilton up here. That is one of the coolest shelters that you cross, at least up to this point on the trail. They have showers, even though I don't know if they were open when I went through or not. They have solar powered phone chargers or charging stations. I don't know how well they work, but hey, man, it's a great option that you haven't had at any shelter up to that point. So another great option here. You can stay at the shelter for free to carry or take the shuttle up to the lodge or to the post office, do some resupply at the general store if it's open, or down at the Fontana Pit Stop, which is a gas station right here. And they charge you some pretty good prices for food there, but man, if it's your only option, it's just what you got. And then take the shuttle back to the Fontana Hilton, sleep, and then make your infill until the Smokies the next day. So a lot of options here. And in the end, the hike in, I don't know anything about it, but it's 6.3 miles off the screen over this side. But it's got some information there if you want to check it out and don't want to stay at the lodge. All right, y'all, we'll switch over to the video. Okay, y'all, before we start, some things we're going to talk about in this short 5-mile distance. And you can see the video is almost 20 minutes long, so I was really talkative this morning. Probably had a good strong cup of coffee and was wired up on some caffeine. First thing we'll talk about is gear accountability in and around your stealth tent spot, and this applies really for the shelter as well. This isn't the first time I've talked about accountability, and probably won't be the last in these videos, but it's so important, and I'll just let that part of the video play because I think those are some tips that everybody could take something from. Later we'll get into the normal time that it takes to prep morning and night. People wonder this, like, how long should it be taking me to get all my stuff packed up in the mornings? What time should I prep for? And at night as well, when I get into camp, if I'm cooking my dinner or whatever, how long should I plan on that taking? For me, in the morning, it was about 1.5 to 2 hours, and that's because I'm really deliberate and I want to have some breakfast and some coffee. I saw other people do it as fast as 30 minutes, and they're hiking and eat breakfast on the trail. We'll talk about that some. And then at nighttime, it was about 2 hours for me from the time that I started pitching my tent to the time I could lay down and start editing my videos or go to sleep. We'll talk a little bit more about courtesy on the trail, and then your diet, and more specifically protein, and how much protein are you taking, because it's critical. Carbs are obviously critical. Your body has to have some of those sugars to burn at all times. Protein, however, when you stop at night and your muscles need to recover, man, you got to make sure you're intaking enough protein. Greeter's a good example of a guy. He's a vegetarian, and he seemed pretty healthy the whole way through. Just getting enough protein, whether you're a meat eater or not, is so critical to helping those muscles recover and get ready for the next hike. So anyway, here we go. All right, y'all, morning of day 12. Just got done packing everything up. I slept in a little bit because I knew don't have too far to go. It'll be a Nero. I'm gonna go into Fontana
recover a little bit today, and hit the Smokies first thing in the morning. Can't wait. It's going to be exciting. Closing up camp, just want to go over a couple other things. Something I do before I leave. This is a little dry spots where my tent was. So I go around, and all military folks know the ubiquitous term of police call, but I go around and just check where all my tent stakes were. Even though I counted them, and I do count them, so when I'm picking them up, I know there's got to be 8. And I don't stop that process until I have all 8 in my hands. Some people get distracted and pull up a couple of stakes and then see their tent poles in their tent if they're using a duplex or something similar. And they'll stop and grab one of their hiking poles, walk it over somewhere and come back and walk right by a stake that maybe the string came detached from or something. Anyway, once you start a process and you know there's like 8 stakes, man, go through the whole process. Have all 8 stakes in your hand before you do anything else. Why is accountability so important? This is just my opinion. There are going to be tons of people out here to help you if you screw up, but your whole goal in life out here should be survivability. To not let your Sawyer squeeze filter freeze, because if you do and you don't have any backups, you're now a liability to everybody else that has to come through and help you out. You lose 3 or 4 of your tent stakes, man, you can probably whittle some sticks or get something else to use, but again, you start becoming a liability. Every little thing is important that you have. And I was thinking last night, if you lay your tent out or your hammock or whatever, and you don't need to pull everything out of your rucksack at night, then you probably have stuff that you don't need. Like my little tripod that you saw in my gear review that I said might not go far with me. Spielberg also said he might not take it if he had to do it again. I already got rid of it. That thing never came out of my backpack at night or during the daytime. Don't need it, got rid of it. Accountability. Last thing I'll do is a sensitive items check, and I do this every single time.
Okay, so we'll stop here real quick and just highlight a couple of points. I'm talking about really 2 different things here at first. So gear accountability, I started with talking about going around and making sure I have everything that my tent needs that I put down the night before to set my tent up. I got to make sure all of that gets back inside my backpack, my rucksack the next morning. So when I get to wherever I'm going, I'm not having, especially because you just got to think, man, if you get to your next campsite and you got a stealth camp and it starts raining or whatever, the last thing you want to do is have to go around and try to find sticks for tent stakes or something because you messed up and left some back at your last spot. I cannot tell you how many extra tent stakes that you find out on the trail because people do not do this and leave them sitting in the ground. This is key. It might not sound like much, but just think about where I'm at right now. As I go into Fontana, man, there's not a lot of places or options to go get another filter or go find more tent stakes or um, you know, find something, your headlamp if you left that as shelter. There's just not a lot of options as you go into the Smokies. So the last thing you want to do is start losing kit before you get to Fontana and then get into the Smokies and be without. And I say that because my second night at the shelter, and I don't know if I mentioned this later on in the Smokies, but a female showed up at that shelter. There was about 6 of us there that night, and she had let her Sawyer squeeze filter um, freeze the night before or whatever, or a couple of days before. She had no way to filter her water, so now all of us had to worry about her and getting her water, which is just ridiculous. It was just a careless mistake. People make mistakes, I get it, but when it comes to your critical items like your water filter, everything that, like every thought process through your day should be, I have to take care of this because it's the one thing that's going to keep me alive out here. And then the second point that I just intermingled in here, probably ineffectively, is are you carrying only what you need in your backpack? What I learned really quick on the trail was that every night when I set up my tent, I unloaded everything out of my backpack and I laid it out in my tent. And I did this every single night, especially when I set my tent up. It's harder in a shelter when you're sharing. And then I would look through that kit and I'm like, okay, what didn't I use last night or the last couple of days out of all this kit laying on my tent floor? And if there was items, man, I sent those items home. And that's tough at first. That's tough because you want to convince yourself that you um, wetted your items down at the start of the trail down to the bare essentials when you really didn't, because you really don't know what the bare essentials are until you start hiking, believe me. Um, and then you don't want to get rid of things because then you're like, ah, man, I don't want to really disprove that I was not really effective in the beginning. Especially when you're vlogging and you don't want to tell people out there that, yeah, man, I'm carrying a lot of extra crap. I sent it home. It's like this pride thing to overcome. I learned to overcome it pretty quick and get rid of weight as fast as you can, because we're all carrying too much stuff in the beginning. No matter how much you get your gear down to ultralight status, I guarantee you're carrying something that you don't need, and you might not be carrying something that you do need. So keep that in mind.
Time that I break, and I think all of us, or a lot of us, do this inherently. But the three things I really can't live without is my Sawyer squeeze filter. So I always keep it in my front pocket because it's cold weather. It'll probably go back in its bag when it warms up a little bit. My wallet, or my Z-Packs bag that I keep all my money and credit cards and stuff in, IDs. That's always in my left pocket, and it's dummy corded to my pants. So if it falls out, it'll just start dragging instead of me losing it. And then I'll hit my right hip pocket for my phone. Those are the three things that I check for every time I stop and start again. And the other one is a headlamp. You know what? I don't even have a backup out here right now. I'm not saying I want to carry another headlamp, and yeah, I can use my phone light. But I'll probably get a little bike light or something just for a backup in case. I've set my rucksack down before, opened it up, and my headlight was on. I got extra batteries. But just worst case scenario, man, imagine your headlight gets crushed. What do? Man, you can wait till hopefully you set everything up before it got dark. You can just use your phone to get around, go to the bathroom, whatever, in the middle of the night if you need to. And you can wait till it gets sunlight to get up. That doesn't work for my schedule, so I'm probably going to go.
Yeah, so anyway, I have a very lightweight headlamp that I had my wife send, and I kind of kept that in my emergency little kit that I had with me, very lightweight. But I did have to use it one time. Again, the headlamp would turn on sometimes inside my backpack. That was my fault, not the headlight's fault. And then I did have to use it at one point to get into town, but not a big deal. But I was glad that I had a backup because I really like to night hike. That's just something that I enjoyed on the trail.
First white blaze. Slept really good last night. I mean, really good. Had a good recovery session with my massage stick on my legs. Somebody asked if I could, I think I might have already said this on yesterday's video. If I did, I apologize. I'll be quick. Somebody asked if I could show those techniques. Again, if you go to my channel, Early Riser 71 on YouTube, look back at the previous videos. I saw one of the comments from a guy a couple of days ago saying that he went back and looked at it and he's already ordered some voodoo floss. Man, that excites me because that is some good stuff. Anyway, go back and look at that video, and the massage and the techniques I'm using with the roller on that video are the exact ones I do here. I usually do them right before bed here. I'm already in my tent. It's already dark out, so it's kind of hard to film inside there. But just watch that video, it'll help you out. I'm telling you, every day I get up, y'all, my legs. I went 19 something miles yesterday over some brutal climbs, to include Jacob's Ladder. And my legs feel as fresh as they did on day one. Alright, y'all. Alright, y'all, I hadn't gone far since I turned the camera off last time. My mind is afresh today. Breaking down camp. Those are the things that I always wish that somebody would show. Maybe in a time lapse.
All right, so one thing I want to point out here is look at the trail. My goodness, this trail is amazing, especially when compared to the Northeast. I'm going to go do some section hiking in November. I don't know what section I'm going to do, but it's going to be around this area probably, or somewhere a little farther to the north or south. I don't know. But this trail right here is just making me long to get back out there, man. Again, that's like pillows right there. By the way, if you stay at Walker Gap, this is your first water source. This is where you got to come down and get water normally, and it's about a 0.5 or more walk from the campsite.
That I'm prepared, fully prepared. And that's all the way from my body, my mind, accountability, all of my equipment. So it takes me, like when I first got out here, and depending on how cold it is, if it's cold, it takes me a little bit longer. Like this morning, it's about an hour and a half from the time I sat up and convinced myself it was time to get up at about 6:15, which is highly unusual for me, but it felt great. And I was walking the trail at 7:45, stepping off. And that's everything deliberately done to include eating oatmeal, 2 Pop-Tarts, coffee, morning constitution, and packing everything up and making sure I have everything ready to go. Getting dressed to include putting on knee braces, putting on shin sleeves, compression, getting on my socks on to where I know my feet are going to be good for the entire day. All those deliberate things that are going to make you successful throughout the day. So what I don't want to do is really get everything on in a rush, start walking down the trail, chomping on some Pop-Tarts, and then have to just keep stopping throughout the day to do certain things that I could have done earlier. You know, if you look at it either way, you're probably going to get the same distance in the same amount of time. It's just a preference. So if you're what we'll go ahead and start calling the 2 Pop-Tart person and run, man, have at it. You just got to get really good at doing a quick accountability of all your stuff, especially if you're staying in shelters because you're trying to be quiet. If you're getting up kind of early, good way to walk off and leave something while you're still in your groggy.
So the reason why I keep talking about gear accountability and people losing stuff is up to this point, this is day 12, I have heard of countless people, whether on YouTube vlogs this year or just word of mouth on the trail, where they had gotten up and walked off without something they needed at a shelter. I don't personally, that just blows my mind, but it happens. People walking off and leaving clothing in the shelter, maybe because it was hanging up in the rafters to dry or something. I don't know. But I'm telling you, that can be a life-altering decision to walk off. And I know it wasn't a decision. They accidentally did it. To me, it's kind of a decision because you decided not to do those deliberate checks that you should do before you leave camp. So the message here, man, is just be really deliberate when you're leaving camp in the mornings, because that piece of gear that you leave behind might be, when Murphy starts getting his vote on your day, and Murphy always gets a vote, it's just going to be inevitable that piece of kit might be what you needed to survive whatever Murphy throws at you.
Haze and the Pop-Tart sugar hadn't kicked in yet. All right, long-winded today. I apologize. Heading to Fontana. All right, y'all. I was just thinking, man.
One thing that I think I voice over that's important is and I'll make my son do this every time before we go to school, is the sensitive items check. This is something we use in my organization here in the military. But for me, it's 3 critical items, what I can't live without. Every time I stopped on the trail and every time I started moving again before I started walking, I would check 3 things. My water filter in my pocket, because it was, wintertime back then, and I always kept it in my front pocket to keep it warm. I would tap that with my hand. I would tap my wallet, which was in my right cargo pocket, or my left cargo pocket, depending on the day, and then my phone. Those are the 3 things that I had to have to survive, in my opinion. And so every time I would stop and start moving again, I would always check those 3 items. Sensitive items check. Figure out what you're passionate about, what you need to survive out there, and make sure you're checking it every time you start moving.
March 1st is day after tomorrow, and the bubble began. I just want to say, and I'm rooting for all of you starting. Anytime this year, I'm rooting for you, especially in the upcoming weeks. I think your patience will be tried, but in the end, I think, I honestly think human beings are good and you guys are going to have a good time. Just be courteous. I always feel, man, if everybody's courteous and worried about the other person, then everybody's having a good time. All right, good luck. Keep pushing north. Fight yourself. Get up out of that warm sleeping bag every day. Get your crap together. Get all your stuff accounted for and push north. Understand your limitations. Don't go too hard too fast. You hear everybody say it, but it's probably the most important tip that you can have. Your body and your mind have to adapt, and if you try to go too fast, you're going to get ahead of what they can do, and it's going to be over quick. Good luck. Early risers on your side. Spot right there. Or a nice.
All right, one thing I wanted to bring up and give a shout out, especially to Chica and Sunsets. I'm watching, like, I didn't find them until like day 60 of their hike or something like that. So I didn't watch their first 60 days on the trail. But what I will tell you is they were fabulous at starting out slow and sticking with their schedule and not convincing themselves they're ready to go farther too quick. And I think it's about every week they're just doing a new goal, which was a mile or two more. And by the end, I don't know if you haven't watched Appalachian Trail Tales and you're interested in through hiking, man, go watch their videos because they're, to me, amazing. By the end of it, they're knocking out 22 miles some days over some really rough terrain, and they started out doing 7 miles a day sometimes. Sometimes they wouldn't even go 7. So check them out, man. They are the great example of how to throttle yourself in the beginning, but not to get absorbed and thinking that's all you should be doing every day. They kept increasing and kept increasing every day till they found that sweet spot of what's really good for their bodies and what's too much. And they're kind of like me, man. I went to watch too much a couple of times just because I wanted to know. And then I would pull back just a little bit and stay in that sweet spot, which for me was about 25 miles a day. So go watch their videos, man. It's fabulous.
Probably what I should have done instead of buying them all. But anyway, just a little tip. Use it or lose it. All right, y'all. Made it to the AT crossings, the first place you come across. There's a bathroom there, there's a phone, tells you about the lodge, you can get a pickup there, so I tried to call to get the shuttle. Nobody ever picked up. Well, I'm sorry, the front desk picked up and they were trying to call the shuttle people. Nobody ever picked back up, so called back in about 5 minutes later and they're like, oh, we can't find a shuttle driver. Like, okay. So I just decided to keep walking down the trail. I'm gonna walk over to the Hilton, the Fontana Hilton, and then I'm gonna, just so I don't have to do these miles tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to get to the lodge from there, either through shuttle or I'll just walk. At this point, doesn't matter. All right, cloudy today. I think rain's moving in, maybe snow up there in the Smokies, but it's gorgeous. I'm loving this walk. All right, y'all, since we've got another minute or two, let's talk about protein intake. Protein, you have to have it. I don't care if you're vegan, I don't care if you're vegetarian, you gotta have some protein out here. I know y'all know that. So how do I tackle protein? And man, I'm very conscious about it. Because I know as these muscles tear down, that's gonna be the building blocks to build back up. So for breakfast, don't do a lot of protein. I was gonna start off drinking a Carnation Instant breakfast just to get about 10 more grams. The oatmeal that I eat has 10 grams in it. Pop-Tarts have 0 grams. So there, I'm starting off with 10 grams in the morning. Mostly focused on carbohydrates, both simple and complex, to build that energy foundation. But my first snack, an hour or two after breakfast, is gonna be a protein bar of some sort, where I'm gonna get at least.
All right, so let's stop the thought real quick. And I know I covered this on my hike, but this is important for through hikers. What are you eating for breakfast? for the 2 Pop-Tarts and start walking kind of people, man, those Pop-Tarts are going to be good, quick, available energy for you. Well, let's not say good. Let's just say it's going to be something that provides you some energy. Is it clean energy? No, not really. But man, we're on the trail, so clean energy is just few and far between out here. You got to get stuff in your body. But the problem with that is your body's going to burn through those Pop-Tarts really quick, and you don't have anything in your stomach that's slow burning like oatmeal. I quit eating oatmeal pretty soon after this in the Smokies. I think I might have given it up. I don't remember. I'm sure it'll come out on the videos, but it wasn't too much longer past Fontana. But I always substituted it with something slow burning. I would eat Pop-Tarts every morning. Man, that's going to be my quick fuel and my coffee to get me going. And then I got something in my stomach that's going to burn slower and slowly release energy throughout the morning, at least till my next snack, which I'm talking about right here.
15 to 20 more grams of protein in. And I'm snacking along the way on some peanut butter pretzels, maybe packs of little peanut butter squeezes where you can just get you some quick protein while you're walking. They're delicious. For lunch, as y'all see, I eat a bagel with peanut butter and jelly, so I'm getting more protein there.
All right, so later on, you guys know I switched from the bagels and having to carry that jar of peanut butter and jelly to just going with some kind of bar with peanut butter spread on top of it. And it was usually a Cliff Bar. A peanut butter Cliff Bar became my go-to with peanut butter on top. And if you don't like peanut butter, man, my options, listening to what I eat every day is going to be kind of worthless to you because I eat a lot of peanut butter and peanut butter flavored things. I just don't get tired of it, thankfully. And I also started buying, Walmart has these little, they're like an orange or red packet. They come in a box and they're individual honeys. It's kind of like you see the energy goos or whatever, where you just rip off the top and you can just squeeze it and get it inside your mouth, right? I would use those and put one of those on top of my Cliff Bar with peanut butter and then get some of that natural sugar in you. And man, it was a recipe for success.
I'll eat a pack of whole wheat peanut butter crackers. That's about 7 more grams. Moving on in the afternoon, still eating on peanut butter pretzels. Still eating on a lot of simple carbs like Skittles or, more importantly, chocolate covered raisins and peanuts. Even with those peanuts, you're getting a slight boost of protein, not a lot. And then dinner time is always going to be some kind of meat inside the ramen, like last night. Tuna and olive oil. Giving you some olive oil, some higher calories than just tuna and water. And then it had 18 grams of protein, which isn't a whole lot. So normally I'll try to follow that up with maybe a fig bar with some peanut butter on top, or maybe even another little protein bar. What I'm gonna start doing, Quaker, I think it's Quaker, but whoever makes the chewy granola bars with 10 grams of protein, start eating one of those for dinner and maybe even for breakfast, because they're lightweight. They mess with my stomach a little bit for some reason. I don't know what the ingredient is that does, but see if I can't handle those. And it's just a good way to infuse some more protein in your diet throughout the day.
So y'all can see I think a lot about protein. Every day back inside the matrix, man, I'm always thinking about protein intake. But some other things, let me pull in some other experiences from other people that I saw. So I know Disciple, he got rid of his stove towards the end of his hike, and he was cold soaking his ramen, which sounds absolutely gross to me, but I've ate worse, so I think I could do it as well. I just wasn't willing to give up my stove because it was so cold the whole time. But man, Halo was sending him some complete cookies, and if you don't know what those are, you can get them at Walmart, especially, and it's like $6 for 4 of them. But they have about 400 calories, 16 grams of protein. They're made with decent ingredients. They're not like a giant health food snack, but what a great way to get some more protein and calories in your body before you go to bed at night. I started eating one of those for breakfast. I would eat a complete cookie and 2 Pop-Tarts towards the end of my hike, man, and that was doing me well. That's just another way you can get some protein in, and they're called cookies and they taste pretty dang good. White macadamia nut is my favorite. So you can kind of convince yourself that you're getting to eat dessert, but you're also getting 16 grams of protein out of it. There's a lot of other techniques out there. I hope people will comment and tell me what your plan of eating is to get in enough protein every day. Because I tell you, if you don't, your body's going to start eating your muscles to get protein, and that is not what you want, because that is not an efficient fuel, and it's just going to make you, um, let's just say, worse as you go along the trail. It's going to make you less efficient, and you're going to start losing energy. You're going to start smelling your sweat, and as your liver's breaking your own proteins down. Like, it's just not a good thing. So keep that in mind.
So have a protein plan. If it ain't meat, you better find something. I know you will. Nuts, obviously good. Maybe you're vegetarian, but you eat fish. Tuna's good. I love hummus and stuff like that. It's just keeping it fresh out here is a problem past day one. So anyway, hope that helps. Use it or lose it.
And the other good thing to remember is, and I'm still eating it because I'm addicted to them now, but sharp cheddar cheese is really good, whether you buy it in blocks and cut it off yourself every night, or whether you get the individual sticks is what I would do. Each one of those little sticks is like 5 grams of protein, and get you some fat in there too, which you need on the hike. So those became a mainstay for me and still are.
Fontana Hilton, very nice shelter, impressive. It's everything that people talk about. Even has a power-up station there where you can charge your stuff. Well done, Fontana. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, droughts had an effect. I think the fight over water between the states had an effect. Still gorgeous nonetheless. Heading this way. It is 11:03 on the 27th, day 12. Just checked into the lodge. Let me check in early, which was awesome of them. Very nice people. I'm going to give a shout out to Sarah and to Connie. Sarah, remember I was waiting for a pickup and nobody ever showed up, so I kept walking on. Got to the Hilton and said, heck, I'll just hoof it on the road. So I started walking down the road, and here comes Sarah. She comes in her personal car and picks me up. Like, that was fantastic. And then I get to the front desk, and Connie was working the front desk. Nice as she can be. She's the one who took the reservation the other night. Just very gracious. Great place to stay. They give you a through hiker discount. So if you want to fork over it ends up being about 89 bucks after tax. Definitely worth it. I'm heading down to the laundromat now. It's by the general store. That's about it. I will videotape any points of interest today, or just wrap it up at the end of the day. Alright, y'all. It's through hikers. If you ever want to come, stay here. Man, they got putt-putt course. It doesn't look half bad. It isn't Myrtle Beach quality, but it looks decent. They got a big fire pit over here. Families come sit around. Very cool. Tennis courts, basketball. They got that big giant pool back at the resort. I'm impressed. This place is pretty cool. Might want to check it out.
All right, y'all. So that was Fontana again. I highly recommend it if you get there before the middle of March. A lot of stuff isn't going to be open, but the restaurant's open. The food was fabulous. The laundromat is open, and there's Coke machines down there. And then you just walk down the road a little bit, and there's that gas station that has some resupply options as well. So a couple other things I wanted to clean up. I also wanted to say congratulations to Wella and Justin. They were the other couple I was following on the trail. Really fabulous. Really enjoyed their. Sorry about that. Got cut off. Yeah, so Wella and Justin really enjoyed their through hikes. Hopefully y'all can see this, but this is all the people I were following, and I just wanted to just show y'all some of the ones that I've subscribed to. But really good stuff on their through hike, and they summited, and man, just want to say congratulations. Greeter also finished his flip flop. Really loved. Got to meet him in Pennsylvania. Him and my dad live in the same town. Like, very cool. Can't wait to get with you again, Greeter. Black Appalachian still out on the trail. He's supposedly flip-flopping now. He's going to go up to Katahdin to knock it out and then come back down and finish out. And I just saw the weather on Washington the other day, Mount Washington and the Whites, and man, they're getting snow already. So hoping he can get it done. And here's Big Bird's channel. This is Steve Walker. Again, got a helicopter staring at us because that's what he did. He flew soft aircraft in the Air Force for AFSOC, and I've worked with AFSOC for the last 20 years of my life and really appreciate what those guys do. So that's about it. Jay's on the trail. Here's Wella's and Justin's channel. Go check their videos out too. Gucci Girl and Grumpy, they're going to start their through hike next February. Looking forward to that as well. All right, y'all. So I appreciate it today. I know, again, these videos get long every week. Again, I just hope they can provide all those plan and do session hikes or through hikes, man, some valuable information. Whether it's just one piece or two pieces out of 40 minutes that you can take away could be the difference of a successful section or through hike or an unsuccessful one. So look forward to the 2018 season kicking off. And still, everybody support the Black Appalachian. If you're not already, go watch his videos, man. He's great. Got to get him through. And then Dan Haley should be getting ready to summit Katahdin if he hasn't already. Still waiting for some videos to come out on him. All right, y'all. Good luck to everybody out there, and appreciate y'all.